DJ Valentino with Berserker Blothar from GWAR. How are you doing today?
Well, I could be better. I'm just sitting here in pandemic world, sweating like a pig, stocking up on toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
And again, especially from a creature who has, again, been across the universe. It's got to be extra tricky to be trapped in this one house during quarantine.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not trapped in one house, so to speak. I mean, we have been. I'm actually in Sarasota, Florida, which is where I vacation in the wintertime, because Antarctica is very, very cold. Let me stress that it's very, very cold there. But I mean, the thing is that penguins don't carry this thing, and those are pretty much my only friends. Uh, but I mean, not much has changed for us in GWAR. We don't like to hang around with each other anyway, so uh, having to do all of our business remotely is just fine with me. That way I don't have to kill those jerks.
I love it. I love it. Again, far away from civilization, if you will, but in Florida where it's nice and warm.
Oh yeah, Florida. It's just such a great state. My buddy Florida man, he and I, we go way back. We do a lot of stuff together. Walking
I
around with
love
alligators. Yeah, it's a blast. It's probably the dumbest state in the union.
it. So now, again, we got some very, very exciting things to talk about. Again, the main reason I'm calling you is you have this awesome, awesome announcement, Scumdogs of the Universe, 30th anniversary, so much going on around it. How does it feel to look back and have that record be 30 years old?
Well, as you know, I experienced mitosis. I was originally Beefcake the Mighty.
Mm.
And a part of me still is, I suppose. I experienced cellular mitosis, where I just spun around and around and around. And then, the good part of me became Blothar, and the stupid part became Beefcake. And so, but back when I was a kid, I was Beefcake the Mighty. And so looking back, yeah, 30 years. I mean, who knew that I would one day be sitting in a living room in Sarasota, Florida, dressed like a big rubber monster 30 years down the line? Who knew? Who could have possibly dreamed? But yeah, I mean, it's a blast. It's a total blast. To hear this record the way that it should sound, it's been remixed, it's been remastered by someone that is a part of the GWAR family, Ronan Murphy, been there since the beginning, really knows how this band should sound and how the band works. And that's big stuff. It's very good. As far as looking back and what it feels like, it's starting to feel more as I look at all of the retrospective aspects, all of the material that's coming out this week that we've been filming about it. It's really, GWAR has an incredible story, both on stage and off stage. And I think people are going to start to get some of that offstage story, and it adds a whole new level to things for people.
Exactly. And again, you talked about it being remastered. Again, you've remastered the whole record for the 30th anniversary. How did it feel to listen to that for the first time? Because obviously a lot of sound technology has changed and advanced since the 1990s. So while that record is a classic, and people have gravitated towards it and loved it for 30 years, to take all these new technology and stuff and really revamp it in your own way, how did that feel?
Well, it's interesting because how did it feel? How did it feel? How do I feel? It felt wonderful. Let me tell you, it felt magical. It felt so special. No, I can't say positive things. I'm a big negative monster. No, I mean, the thing about it is that it hasn't only been remastered, it's also been remixed. So listening back, and it's to some degree even been re-edited. I mean, there are some performances on there that were edited, stricken from the first one, in a fueled haze of late 80s debauchery, like whatever the heck was going on with us back then. I just know that we have removed a lot of the weird sounding 80s reverb and a lot of the things that sort of stood in the way of the record sounding like a group of musicians standing in a studio and recording a rock record. And I think that you can really hear details in the recording that you couldn't hear there before. And it just sounds both more modern and more aggressive at the same time. So it's definitely, I felt in a way relieved, because I remember as a young beefcake going out to Los Angeles to mix this thing and coming back with something that really we weren't entirely 100, you can't possibly know this, but being in a rock band is just a series of humiliating compromises. That's, one by one, you take each as they come. And certainly, the first thing was the record cover, right? It wasn't supposed to have a blue background. It was supposed to be white. But then you have these record label jerks who tell you, no, it's got to have a blue background. So the next thing you know, you got a record that nobody likes to look at. And something similar happens with the recording process. You get out there and mix it and remaster, and it comes back. It doesn't sound like you have been hearing it for when you were writing and constructing the record. Or constructing the material. So in a way, it was like, wow, here this thing is the way we always imagined it 30 years later, right? So it felt wonderful.
And again, you're right. With a band that has a following, has a fan base on their second album, but like 30 years down the line, when you're at 14 albums and you become like a household name for metal and rock, you get to have more of that creative freedom that you didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it wasn't that we were getting pushed around or anything. It's just that you don't really know what to pay attention to when you're first starting out, right? Like you're not sure exactly who you need to throttle to get the results that you want. And so with all of those potential necks, we missed a few, clearly. But now we know exactly who to get what we want.
Exactly. And it's coming out very soon. Another thing that's super cool about this record, you've got 10 unreleased demos kind of on the box set, on the cassette. So 10 songs or 10 ideas that didn't quite make it into the record that these fans can now hear for the first time.
That's right. Yes, there are. That's an interesting thing. And it's in a cassette form. So no one can, you're saying that they can hear it, but that's only theoretical. It's like putting out a record on. I mean, we argued over whether or not we should just translate it to Morse code. That way people could really get a sense of what it, how it fell to the beginning. I mean, but yeah, it's on cassette, and it's hilarious to listen to these songs and read the titles and everything. Back before we knew exactly what it was going to be.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure, you as a human being are 30 years removed from when you wrote those songs. So going back, the nostalgia's got to be crazy.
Did you just call me a human being?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. You mean, I'm sure that you meant immortal rock.
Yes.
So, yes. So, 30. But your question was, though, that as a mind-bendingly beautiful immortal, what was your question?
I'm sure the nostalgia hearing those demos must have been crazy for you.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, it reduced me to just a weeping little girl. That's what I became, just a weeping child in the corner wearing a sundress with a lot of tears coming out of my eyes. You shut up. That's one of my. He sounds like a dog, but it's actually a.
Yeah, it's not a dog. Gotcha.
No.
So now another thing that I want to talk to you about and get your opinion on is it's been such a long time, and I know that a lot of fans are really, really loving this release. They're super excited. And another thing you're doing to promote this is you're doing a live stream where you're playing Scumdogs of the Universe in full. I've talked to a few bands and a few artists about the live streams and how that compares to live shows, but I don't think any artist has quite the legendary and infamous live shows as GWAR. And translating that to a live stream, I can't even begin to imagine or what to expect.
It's going to be tough you know, to get, I think, you know, in rehearsals for this thing, it's like, probably the weirdest thing is, first of all, we don't like humans. So it's a pleasant surprise, you know, a pleasant difference that we get to play in front of an empty room. The problem is that with the absence of humans, you find out, oh, okay, well, these people actually do create some ambiance with their pitiful cries of, you know, pleas for mercy. So, and applause, of course, nonstop applause. And so you do miss that, right? There is that aspect of it. All of the energy that comes on, that's on stage, has to come from within yourselves, dynamos of energy, warriors, without feeding like leeches off of the audience, which is what we are accustomed to, I'm afraid.
Exactly. And like, you know, you feed off the audience feeds off of you, and it's a super awesome kind of circle of energy. And without that, you know, you're just kind of playing
The
to a
audience
camera.
feeds off of me. I want them to leave me alone. They keep grabbing my udders.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's like, no, none of that. But again, just playing to a camera, like that's such a different feeling, I'm sure. That's definitely gonna be very weird.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like I haven't played to a camera before. Look, I've done some things that I was less than proud of as a younger, struggling musician. But but so it's nothing new. However, yeah, it's gonna be weird. You're right.
And such a huge part of the GWAR show experience is, again, like, you know, you douse the audience in blood and stuff, and it's very interactive. How are you going to keep that interaction going through the live stream?
I mean, we have plans for that. I think that we're going to have some fans are going to be able to call in and you know. But yeah, I mean, it is weird because it's not like you can sit there and look at your telephone, which is what humans do constantly. But we have some plans for that. We're gonna work it out. You know, I just hope we get through the thing without being sabotaged by the Destructos, because you know that Techno Destructo himself is going to make an appearance at this thing, and he's the big guy. He's the main one in charge of those clowns. Speaking of which, I think we'll probably even see Bozo Destructo, the entire Destructo clan, all of the enemies of GWAR from back in the day are going to make a show. And we also have, you know, Slime and Strummin is going to be there, as well as that oldster, the Executioner. So there's going to be a lot of old people there. Yeah, it's gonna. I think it's right at home in Florida, actually.
And that definitely like leads me into another question I had was, you don't refer to your crew as like crew. It's like a family. You guys have said on multiple occasions that the
No,
GWAR.
it's not like a family. It is that it's a very dysfunctional and abusive one. You refer to them as slaves.
Yeah, a family of sorts, I guess. But you guys have been very, very, you know, you take care of the people that work for you, work with you. I'm sure with the pandemic, this has got to be a very weird time for not just the band, but the crew as well.
I don't know what you have been reading to think that we take care of one another. That's an absolutely outrageous suggestion. GWAR operates on, all we give those people are tiny little bits of clay that they can sculpt into something that looks like money that they can then try to pass off to morons who take it, I don't know, whatever. All I know is that we don't care about anybody, and we especially don't care about you or each other. I don't even care about myself.
Perfect. I'm here for it. And now another question that I did have, again, your human Mike did a TED talk about Virginia and kind of GWAR in the Virginia scene. And it was an incredible TED talk. I absolutely loved it. But I definitely want to ask, how was the crowd? Because obviously GWAR fans are crazy. They're nuts. They love the music. But obviously, typically the TED talk fans are more, like scholarly kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's a different atmosphere. How was that
like
TED talk crowd?
that. Really, they're just the same drooling, dithering humans. I mean, look, the TED Talk, it was something that was run by Weasley young people. I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about because you look like a Weasley young person. And
That
that's
I
exactly
am.
who was in charge of this TED Talk. So you had, from what he has told me, my Michael Bishop, there was a moment where they granted him 18 minutes to speak, right? A normal amount of time for an academic presentation. And then they cut it in half because they counted the beginning part, which they insisted that he do, where he had another member of GWAR come out and get. So he only had 9 minutes, right? And they told him this right before he goes on. And I'll never forget the TEDx woman who came over to me to talk to me. And of course, Bishop tells him, you know, Mark Twain once said, if you'd have given me more time, I'd have written a shorter letter. But anyway, the thing of it, she comes up to this guy and she says to him, you are an academic, which means that your thoughts and everything is coming from here. And then she touched his head. She put her hands on him. And then she said, but you want it to come from here. And then she touched his stomach. I mean, I would have bitten her arm off at the elbow at that point. But of course, he just sat there and took it like the big wimp that he is.
Oh.
And then proceeded to get up there and in 9 minutes, tell a story about GWAR and Richmond and regional identity to an audience full of, I don't know, glassy-eyed Richmonders.
Well, props to your human, Michael, for adapting that quickly, because that's definitely tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And now another question that I did have, kind of switching gears a bit, talking about music. In your 30-year plus career span, 14 albums, consistently every 2 to 3 years, you guys have dropped an album. And your last album was in 2017. So is there new material on the way? Are you guys writing new music? How far along are you in that process?
There is. We are dropping new material everywhere. It's all over the house. Somebody needs to get over here and clean up this material. But yes, we've been, but seriously, we are dropping new material, like it's coming, and I think that you could look for fall of 2021 or something like that, some ridiculously soon deadline that means I have to somehow squeeze out even more material.
I love it. And I know all our WSOU listeners are super excited. All the staff here is so excited. We can't wait to see the live stream, hear the 30th anniversary, and when that new music drops, we'll be right here. Berserker, thank you so much, Berserker Blothar, for talking with me today and exchanging thoughts and ideas about all that's going on in the GWAR world.
Okay. Well, thank you. Although you were definitely light on the thoughts and ideas.
Is what it is.
But hey, you know, I like your smile. You got a brilliant future ahead of you, kid. Hey, have fun.